Hello Booktube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with the Under the Influence of Booktube tag. I was tagged by the lovely Lindsay over at The Wandering Reader, and I will leave a link to her video in the description box below. And the original video is by Olive over at A Book Olive. And I thought this tag sounded like a lot of fun, and I decided to do it. So I didn't write anything down for answers. I'm going to answer this completely off the cuff, and yeah, so let's get into it. So the first question is, what's a fantastic book that you read off the recommendation of another booktuber? And oppositely, what's a book that you were talked out of reading because of a booktuber's review? So the first bit of that, I think, fantastic book. Way back when I started watching Booktube, and it was mostly YA readers, it was Ready Player One, which if you guys watch my channel, you know I am not a big YA reader, or B, you know, that more dystopian type book, but I read this one and really enjoyed it. I kept hearing so much about it on Booktube and hearing about the premise, and I thought, all right, I'll give it a try, and I couldn't put it down. It was fantastic. For a book that I was talked out of reading, I can't think of any, to be completely honest. Not off the top of my head anyway. I'm sure there might have been one or two that I heard some reviews on that I just thought, you know, or not even reviews, but heard the premise of and thought, maybe that's not exactly what I'd like to, what I would enjoy. But yeah, typically, I'm one of those people where let me judge it for myself. You know, if everybody else hated it, I'd still be like, I just want to try the book and see what I think about it. Question number 2. Has Booktube opened your mind to or changed your mind about any genres? Yeah, I like to think so. I kind of, yes, predominantly what do I read is romance. 90% of my TBR, 90% of what I read is romance novels. But that being said, I am branching out a lot more now. I did read cozy mysteries before, but I am reading them more now. I'm reading more thrillers because I hear a lot of people talking about thrillers and some of them sound really good. I'm reading more nonfiction than I did before. I mean, it's still not a lot, but it's more. You know, I'm just kind of delving into different things. Even within the romance genre itself, you know, typically I used to steer away from paranormal, and I am picking those up now because I'm hearing other people talk about them. So yeah, absolutely. Question number 3. How much time did you spend on YouTube before Booktube, and how much time do you spend on it now? Prior to Booktube, I was on YouTube very little. And it had to have been probably 5 years or so ago now that I found Booktube. And I watched it all the time. But the problem was back then is it was predominantly one type of book. And we all know it was predominantly the big booktubers, the YA booktubers. And I just did not have a lot in common with them. And back then I did actually try to start my own channel. And I realized that I just wasn't fitting into this. I wasn't fitting into this Booktube. And I kind of got discouraged essentially. And I walked away and I stopped watching it and all that stuff. Well, around that same time is when I found knitting and took up knitting. And then I began to watch knitting podcasts, and that's a giant rabbit hole if you are a crafter or a knitter or crocheter of any kind. And that's like for about 2 years. That's pretty much all I watched. We actually got rid of cable because neither my husband nor I were really watching cable. And then it'll be almost a little over 3 years ago, probably 3.5 years ago now, I found Booktube again. And I found the new Booktube, and I started finding all these amazing people who you know, talk about other types of books. And so what was the question? How much time did I spend on it before? You know, really not very much. I would occasionally go on and look up something like watch a music video or whatever, but really now that is my primary source of entertainment is YouTube. Not just Booktube, but YouTube in general, because I do watch a lot of different things on YouTube. You know, I watch mostly Booktube stuff. I do still watch some knitting podcasts. I like watching some beauty people on YouTube and stuff like that. So yeah, it is my main source of entertainment, and I love it. How many books did you read per month or per year before Booktube, and how many do you read now? I've always been a big reader, but it's only within the last few years that it's really skyrocketed. So I would have to say that my book reading has gone up substantially. And yeah, and I'm more than happy about that because I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, reading, I've always loved reading. But now that I'm doing this, it's kind of like I don't want to use this term because I hear a lot of booktubers say this. You know, they begin to feel pressure that they have to read more because, you know, they have to have content for their channel. It's nothing like that. I mean, I read, in the grand scheme of things, compared to a lot of other booktubers, I do read a lot more than most people. You know, I'm not, this is not bragging or anything at all like that, but in the course of a week, you know, I can finish more books than some people finish in a month. And I'm a vivacious, you know, like, I love to read. I've always got an ebook on the go. I've always got an audiobook on the go. You know, like, I read more than one book at a time. So I guess that maybe that's what helps me get through a lot of books. I have a bit of commute when I am working. Hoping to get back to work in the next few weeks. So I can get back to that commute and stuff like that. And, you know, I've always read a lot, but it's become more. Because now I just feel like I love sitting down and talking about books with you guys. And I love reading so much because for a lot of years prior to me getting back onto Booktube, I stopped reading. There was years that I wasn't reading. It was like almost 5 years that I maybe picked up 1 or 2 books a year. And that's never been me. I've always been an avid reader ever since I was a kid. So yeah, so it has gone up, but that I'm considering to be a good thing. Question number 5, has Booktube affected your book buying habits? And if so, are you pleased or displeased by this? I am pleased. Yes, I have these lovely shelves behind me that have books on them. But if you guys know, if you watch my channel, I do not really buy physical books. Most of the books that I purchase are on ebook. And beyond that, over the last few months, what I have really gotten into doing is using my library. I do pay for the Audible package every month, and I get the Audible romance package, so a lot of my books come from there as well, a lot of my audiobooks. And I also subscribe to Script. I will leave a link in the description box below for a link if you guys want to check it out. In full disclosure, I get a free month if you guys sign up, so, you know, but it's a great service, and it allows you, it says it's unlimited, but it's not. It's unlimited for the less popular titles, but for the more popular titles, you get generally about 2 or 3 books a month, and I think it's only $8.99 a month, so that's actually not too shabby, and it's ebooks and audiobooks. So, I mean, really, Audible gives you one for $14.99, so that's not a bad deal, in my opinion. But anyway, sorry, shameless plug there, you guys. So yeah, no, I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me because you know what? I can buy 500,000 books and they all fit right on this little thing right here and they take up no space. And I love it. Question number 6. Has a review by a booktuber ever retroactively made you reconsider your stance on a book? No. No. To be honest, I don't think so, no. I do have to admit that sometimes if I recommend a book, like I'll talk about it, I'll say, oh my gosh, guys, this book was so good, you need to read it. And then I have people read it and come back, oh, yeah, I didn't really like it. I start to think to myself, maybe I misjudged it. So in that instance, when I'm the one who reviews a book and I have other people read it and they come back to me and be like, I didn't really like it, you know, for whatever reason, it kind of makes me think, I wonder what it was about it, you know, because you wonder how much when you're reviewing books, if you're not critically reviewing books. If you're critically reviewing books, that's a completely different ballgame. But if you're just reviewing for the sheer enjoyment of it, how much of the fact that you love that author is influencing that rating? Well, it's a Sarah Morgan, or it's a Susan Wiggs, or it's a Jill Shalvis. You know, I love this author. I'm supposed to love these books. You know, even though there's flaws to it, I love the author. Whereas someone who doesn't read that author generally will pick it up and be like, meh, it was okay. You know, so you have to wonder about that. So yes, in those kind of instances, yes. So I guess it is in a way a review by somebody else. So yeah, I guess I do. Now that I've talked through the question in my head, I guess I do. Question number 7, are there any videos you've been inspired to make after seeing another booktuber's videos? Have you ever felt inspired by another booktuber's style, their video style, their book organization style, their personality style, anything? Yeah. For video ideas, absolutely. I've got one coming up that I'm going to be talking about in December. It's kind of an amalgamation of what a bunch of other people have been doing over the last year or so, and I'm super excited about it, but it's my own take on it. My weekly reading vlogs. Karen over at Rather Be Reading, she was my inspiration for those. When I saw her, and I've been watching she's been doing them since the beginning of January. And, you know, I love them. I love watching them because they're so personable. And that's what I wanted this channel to be. So, and I've always felt that I've come across that way. I know if I think back to my old videos when I first started, you know, I was trying to figure out what my niche was and how I was and how I wanted to portray myself, and realized I just want to be me. This person that you see here is me. With horrible lighting right now, you know, like, I'm trying to figure out where to sit. You know, I want it to feel like, you know, you're grabbing a coffee and you're sitting down with me to have a chat about books. That's what I want. That's what I want this channel to be. So, you know, style-wise, I mean, I look at some of the big booktubers and they've got the pretty fancy background and they've got the pretty twinkly lights. And yes, it's lovely. It's a very pretty aesthetic. But it shouldn't be about that. It should be about this. Does that make sense? You know, it should be about your love of books. And that's pretty much it. And, you know, I gravitate towards booktubers who I feel like I'm sitting down with a friend. Karen, Lindsay, even Olive at a Book Olive, Steve Donahue. You know, I'm trying to think of other ones off the top. Steph over at Steph's Romantic, I'm sorry, Steph, I can't remember your channel name. And Ash over to Ash Hearts Books. You know, I just feel like they're doing it because they love it. And I'm not saying that other people aren't doing it because they love it, because I'm sure everybody does love it. But it's not about all the other things. It's about the books. Question number 8. What are some pressures you feel in your reading life because of your channel? I don't feel pressure. I don't. You know, I'm the one who creates the 31 book TBR. You saw my December TBR. That's putting it on me. You know, if I can't get through that, it doesn't bother me. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm still reading a substantial amount. You know, every month my average is between 20 and 30 books a month. You know, I'm not too sad if I miss a couple books off my TBR. All the challenges I put on are on myself, and I don't feel any pressure being here. The one thing that I would like to do more, and I guess if I had to think about pressure and stuff like that, would be like Booktubeathon and stuff like that, because I am behind in watching videos. I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out where to sit with this light. Because I am feeling like, because I am a bit behind on Booktube videos, I often miss the starts of some of these readathons and stuff, like the Borrowathon or the Spookathon that I missed and stuff like that. I would kind of, maybe in 2019, one of my goals will be to try and participate in those. And when I see, those videos come up, those announcement videos, I'm going to go ahead and watch them and try and participate a bit more and get a bit more active in the community that way. Question number 9. In what way, if any, do you feel the social elements of the community has impacted your reading? Do you think about books differently since joining? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm becoming a bit more critical, because I think that's just the nature of the beast. The more that you read, the more critical you're going to become. It's not just, oh, this was such a fun story and I loved it. You know, it might be you start to notice good writing from bad writing and good editing from bad editing the more and more you read. So I don't think that's a social thing. I think that's just a reading thing. Socially, you know, I guess with, I mean, the social aspect of it, my viewers, like, you guys are awesome. I am constantly, every time I put up a video, I'm getting book recommendations. I have a list that's insane of book recommendations that you guys have given me, and I love that. So for that social aspect of it, it has definitely influenced my reading big time, because I'm hearing about a lot of books now that I wouldn't have heard about before, and that is super awesome, and I love it. And Instagram is a horrible, horrible, bad place. It's an enabler. I go on Instagram for 5 minutes and I've got 10 new books on my TBR that I must read. So for that aspect, I love Instagram. But yeah, so, you know, because let's be honest, people, we all say don't judge a book by its cover, literally, but we all do. We all absolutely do. If I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see a cover that's like, meh, I will literally scroll past it. And then if I see a cover that I love, I'm like, ooh, I must find out more about that book. So that's what ends up happening. And question number 10. What influence do you hope your channel will have on the booktube community and or aspiring booktubers? I hope that, you know, I'm not a very big channel. I've been doing this for 3 years. I literally do this because I love it. I don't do this for the notoriety. I don't do this because I have 20 or 30,000 subscribers and I feel the need to put out videos all the time. You know, when you are a smaller booktuber and you still consistently put out videos and you still consistently, you know, do the normal booktube things, you know you're doing it because you love it. Does that make sense? You know, I'm not doing it just for the subscribers or just for the hits or just for the, you know, anything at all like that. I'm doing this because I generally love doing this. And I love talking with my people, with my tribe, with my group, my other romance lovers. You know, we are a very small minority within the booktube universe. And, you know, all of you people are awesome. And I love this. You know, would I like to have more subscribers? Absolutely. Let's be honest. You know, I think it's great. But if, you know, there's those of us who are still persisting, even though, you know, we may not have gotten, you know, big or anything at all like that, we're the you know, the people who generally do love to do it. So yeah. So that's pretty much what I would say to new people is don't be discouraged. If you are doing this for the right reasons, just be yourself, you know, talk about the books that you want to talk about. Don't feel the need to talk about books just because everybody else is talking about them. I don't read a lot of brand new releases. I read some, but I don't read a lot. I am mostly a backlist reader. You know, I read books that are not the norm on Booktube generally. And yeah, I still love it anyway. So yeah, anyway guys, that is the tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was probably rambly and all over the place, but that's atypical for me. If you have any questions and comments, please leave them in the description box below. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.